welcome to Unews for Wednesday, February 12th. I'm Andrea Linares. We start things off today with the firestorm surrounding the case of former Donald Trump associate Roger Stone and his conviction in the 2016 Russian interference scandal. Top officials in the Department of Justice moved to lessen the sentencing recommendations of career prosecutors after President Trump publicly criticized their call for a lengthy jail term. The four lead prosecutors then quitting the case in protest, one even resigning from the Justice Department. Carolina Sarasa has more. Washington is still reeling over the DOJ's decision, and this morning the White House's Deputy Press Secretary reiterated that President Trump was not involved in the sentencing recommendation. Let's go to Janet Rodriguez with the latest from the White House on this. Janet, what do we know?
Right, and the White House insists that the president did not give a direct order to the Justice Department, that he did not speak directly to Attorney General Barr, and he was not involved in this, that it was only his opinion when he tweeted that this recommendation was unfair. But
Janet, the president also said on Tuesday that Lieutenant Vindman may face disciplinary action for testifying during the impeachment hearings. What can you tell us about that? Thank you, Janet Rodriguez. Excellent reporting from Washington, D.C. And for more on the Roger Stone case, let's go to Patrick Cotter. He's a former federal prosecutor. Patrick, thanks so much. And President Trump pulled his nomination for Jesse Liu to serve in a top Treasury position. According to some big developments in the race for the White House. The results now in from the first primary in the nation. Bernie Sanders pulling ahead, winning New Hampshire with Pete Buttigieg just close behind. And Amy Klobuchar exceeding expectations, coming in third after her strong debate performance. But Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden disappointed with their results at the bottom of the top five. Fabiola Galindo has the latest details.
that's right, a very contested election night and a decisive victory by Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Also surprises, coming in a strong third place, Senator Amy Klobuchar. Now, most of the candidates have already left New Hampshire, headed to the next states, Nevada and South Carolina, where the next caucuses and primaries are taking place in the next 2 weeks. Reporting from New Hampshire, Fabiola Galindo, Unews.
Thank you, Fabiola Galindo, for following the primaries so closely. And after the results in the Democratic New Hampshire primary, 3 candidates already suspended their campaigns. And let's talk about health. The death toll from the coronavirus has now surpassed 1,000, and over 45,000 have been infected worldwide. In London, a patient who infected many others in different countries before even being diagnosed has now been released from the hospital. And in China, meanwhile, people are starting to head back to work after entire cities were practically put into lockdown for weeks. Lorraine Cáceres.
German health official is warning the world that the number of infections will get worse before we start seeing a decline in cases. But in China, the government is reporting that they have started to see a downward trend in new cases. That's the information we have so far. And then now back to you.
Thank you, Lorraine, for that report. So scary to see so many illnesses out there. And heavy rains causing major headaches for more than 21 million people across the United States this week. Some residents have been forced to leave their homes as a result of these terrible conditions. And today, these rain-soaked states are set to get hit yet again. Rafael Rodriguez has more. Next, chilling details after the fog. And welcome back to Unews. Disturbing allegations at a prestigious college in New York State. A father accused of moving into his daughter's campus home and then manipulating and even abusing her friends. That man now facing an array of charges, including sex trafficking and extortion. Paola Byron has the story. Another disturbing college news. Data released by the Anti-Defamation League indicated that white nationalist recruitment on university campuses here in the U.S. is rising, with a total of 433 schools in 43 states and Washington, D.C., reporting incidents in 2019. The report announced to California, where new video has been released of detention officers pepper spraying a group of migrant detainees at a private immigration detention center. The incident took place after a group of Central American migrants decided to go on a hunger strike to protest conditions at that facility. Well, one of those former detainees recently won a settlement against the private prison company. Dulce Castellanos spoke with him about this incident.
A decade, ICE has maintained a contract with the GEO Group to run the facility, but an ICE spokesperson said they cannot comment on pending litigation.
The international organization Doctors Without Borders has released a scathing new report. It details the dire physical and mental health impacts of new migration policies being implemented by the U.S. and Mexican governments. As Media Cavazos explains, the group says migrants are being put in danger and that situation needs to end. Next, actor Jussie Smollett now facing new charges for making in Chicago, where actor and former Empire star Jussie Smollett will face charges after all. More than a year after police say he made up a hate crime attack. A special prosecutor has announced that a grand jury has indicted Smollett on 6 counts. Joanna Uzma reports. Elsewhere around the country, the suspect in the August massacre at an El Paso, Texas Walmart is due in court today. That suspect accused of killing. Could this next story be a case of art imitating reality? Well, maybe. Police say 2 women at an upscale bar in Los Angeles charmed their way into the company of 2 men, talking their way into the men's homes. As Salvador Duran explains, it was not love at first sight, and the men became victims of several crimes. Up next, interim President Juan Guaido is getting ready for his next campaign after returning home. Coming up next, a new study shows that today's tech reports Uber for your pet. But first, China's new app to protect people from the coronavirus. Here's Annabelle Sedano with more.
Hi there, that's right, and we begin with this. China has released a mobile app that is supposed to inform people if they have come in contact with the coronavirus. The close contact detector has users scan a QR code and submit their name, phone number, and ID number to find out if they've come into close contact with someone infected with the virus while traveling on planes, trains, or buses. Those who are at risk are advised to stay home and get in touch with local health authorities. The app apparently has the support from Chinese government agencies to ensure accurate, reliable, and authoritative data. Moving on to this one, great news for animal owners. Uber Pet has officially launched in Orlando. For a $5 surcharge, riders can bring a non-service animal with them on their Uber trip. Users simply must notify drivers that their furry friend will be in tow by selecting the Uber Pet option in the app. Orlando is only the 2nd city in Florida with this option. That said, the pilot program will also expand to other cities throughout the Sunshine State. And finally, you know it, texting and walking is no joke. Researchers say walking while texting is even more dangerous than walking while talking on the phone or listening to music. A group analyzed data from 14 studies on pedestrian accidents. Their findings show people staring at their phones, sometimes forget to look before crossing the street, and they have more near misses as well around the world. About 270,000 pedestrians die annually. So there you have it. Let's be careful, guys. I'm Annabelle Sedano, and that was your daily dose of tech news. Have a good one.
Exercise is very good for us. And now let's go to Carolina Sarasa, who's standing by in the newsroom with a preview of what's coming up in the next hour of Unews. Caro, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Andrea. We have more coming up in minutes. We have more, including on the mystery in Florida surrounding a girl who was allegedly kidnapped. The girl's father now saying parts of the story were not true. We also have the latest on the tragic death of Kobe Bryant. His family saying goodbye to the basketball legend and his daughter Gianna. We have more. And another basketball superstar making a major announcement about his family. The details behind his happy news coming up shortly. Andrea, back to you.
Caro, thanks so much for that preview of what's coming up next. But first, right here on Unews, the iconic Westminster Dog Show wrapping up. But who took Best in Show? Welcome back to Unews. The 2020 Westminster Dog Show has picked a new winner. The Lucky Pooch, named Best in Show, beat out nearly 3,000 other dogs and became the first standard poodle in nearly 30 years to take the title. Here's Mariti Marungi with the story. You have to rush to prep that nursery and all the things that you need for babies. That's all the time that we have for the first hour of Unews, but stay tuned for the second hour with Carolina Sarasa. We still have much more information coming up next. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.